Chapter 1. The Goodbye. It was still dark when Diego stood at the small bus station in his hometown in Mexico. His mother, dressed in her old blue sweater, hugged him tightly. Her hands were rough from years of washing clothes by hand. Her eyes were filled with tears, but she didn't let them fall. "Be safe, and don't forget who you are," she whispered in Spanish. Diego nodded, unable to speak. His heart was too full. He was only 19, but he carried a dream bigger than his backpack, to build a better life for his family. He looked down at the worn shoes on his feet, shoes his uncle had given him. He promised himself he would send money to buy his mother a new pair. He remembered the nights when they had no electricity and had to study by candlelight. He thought of the long walks to school, the smell of corn tortillas, and the sound of roosters in the morning. His town was small, but it was home. Now he was leaving it all behind. His little sister, Camila, had made him a bracelet from string. It was red and blue, their favorite colors. "So you don't forget us," she had said, slipping it onto his wrist. Diego ran his fingers over the bracelet now, holding back tears. As the bus pulled away, Diego pressed his forehead to the window, watching his mother wave until she became a dot on the road. His younger sister ran after the bus, barefoot and waving a white handkerchief. His throat tightened. The landscape changed quickly, from fields of corn to empty roads and gas stations. Every mile put more distance between his old life and the unknown future. He listened to the hum of the engine and imagined what New York might look like. All he had seen were pictures in magazines, and what Luis had described in his letters. A city that never sleeps, full of chances, full of struggle. His journey to the United States had begun. He didn't know what to expect. All he knew was that there was no turning back. The dream had started, and he had to chase it. Chapter 2. New York, New Life. New York City was bigger, louder, and faster than anything Diego had imagined. The buildings reached the sky. The streets never slept. Cars honked all night. People moved quickly, heads down, voices fast. He arrived in Queens, where his cousin Luis lived. Luis welcomed him with a tired smile and handed him a spare key. "It's not easy here," Luis warned as they climbed up 4 floors to a small apartment, "but if you work hard, you can make it." Diego shared a room with Luis and 2 others, Carlos, who worked in construction, and Pedro, a delivery driver. The room had 2 bunk beds, a tiny window, and 1 desk. There was no privacy, but Diego was grateful. At least he had a place to sleep. Their schedule was chaotic. Pedro worked night shifts and came home at sunrise. Carlos left before dawn and returned covered in dust. Luis often skipped meals to save money. They shared meals of rice, beans, eggs, and tortillas. On Sundays they made soup and called their families. It was their only luxury. The first night Diego couldn't sleep. Sirens wailed outside. A dog barked. Someone shouted in English. He looked out the window and saw the lights of the city. It was beautiful but overwhelming. He longed for the silence of the countryside. Every sound was new. Every sign was in English. Every face was different. It was exciting and terrifying. Diego missed the stars from his village. Here, the only stars were the ones painted on a billboard. At a small market nearby, he bought milk and bread. He handed the cashier money with shaking hands. She spoke quickly, and he only caught a few words. Change, receipts, have a good day. He smiled awkwardly and left. That evening he got lost trying to find the subway station. He asked a stranger for help, mixing Spanish with the little English he knew. Please, train, to Queens. The man pointed and said, F train, 2 blocks down, then left. Diego followed the directions, heart pounding. He wrote in his notebook that night, Today, I bought milk. I got lost. I said, thank you. Each little moment was a victory. He drew a small map to remember the streets and wrote down new words he had heard. When he lay down to sleep, he stared at the ceiling. Un paso a la vez, 1 step at a time. Chapter 3. First job. First lesson. Luis found Diego a job at a diner. The owner was strict but fair. She looked Diego up and down and said, You show up on time, you work hard, and we'll get along. Diego started as a dishwasher. The work was hot, fast, and tiring. He scrubbed plates, rinsed glasses, and mopped floors. His hands were always wet, his back ached, but he never complained. Frank, a cook in his 40s, took a liking to him. You remind me of me when I started, he said, passing Diego a sandwich during break. Hang in there. Diego learned words like order up, behind, and clean up. He practiced greetings in English while wiping tables. Good morning, he'd say to himself. Would you like coffee? The hardest part was understanding the slang and speed of speech. Customers spoke fast. Waitresses shouted orders. Janet barked instructions. At night, Diego studied English from a book Luis gave him. He repeated phrases in front of a mirror. One day, he dropped a plate. It shattered loudly. Janet frowned. Diego quickly bent to clean it. Frank leaned over and whispered, Everyone breaks a plate. Don't let it break you. Later that night, Diego walked alone. The city lights blurred with tears of exhaustion. But when he passed the bakery, he smiled at the smell of bread. He imagined buying a cake for Camila one day. He wrote in his notebook, Today, I broke a plate, but not my spirit. Chapter 4. A Place in Class. Luis encouraged Diego to join an evening English class at the community center. The classroom was small, the walls filled with posters, verb tenses, common expressions, flags from around the world. The teacher, Ms. Adams, greeted each student warmly. Welcome! English is hard, but so are you, she said with a smile. There were students from China, Haiti, Nigeria, and El Salvador. They were all adults, all dreamers. Diego sat next to a woman named Amina from Morocco. This is hard, she whispered, but we try. Ms. Adams made learning fun. They practiced conversation, watched short videos, and wrote journals. One day she asked, What is your dream? Diego hesitated, then stood up. I want help family, I want better life." The class clapped. Amina gave him a thumbs up. He felt seen. After class, he stayed behind. "Miss Adams, I speak slow. Can I change?" She smiled. "Yes, you already are." That night, Diego practiced saying, "Can I help you?" 20 times before bed. He looked at the mirror and said, "You can do this." Chapter 5. The Snow and the Fire. Diego's first snow came in December. He woke up to find the world outside turned white. He ran down the stairs, slipping once, and stepped into the soft snow. He laughed. He called Camila through video and showed her the rooftops. "It's cold," he said, shivering. She giggled, wrapped in a blanket back home. But snow also meant harder work. He had to walk carefully to the diner, clear sidewalks, and wear borrowed boots from Luis. One freezing night, the apartment building's heat stopped working. Diego and the roommates bundled in blankets. Carlos lit a candle and told stories about his first job in Texas. To stay warm, Diego read out loud from his English book. Pedro listened, half asleep. "You're getting better," he muttered. The next morning, Luis handed Diego a coffee. "You're doing good, Primo. Really good." Chapter 6. A Message from the Past. One Sunday, Diego received a video message from his father. It was short, but powerful. "Son, I was afraid when you left, but now I see you are becoming a man. We're proud of you. Keep going. Always forward." Diego played it twice. He closed his eyes and felt his father's voice like a hug. That day he wore his best clothes and went to class with his head high. In his journal he wrote, "Every hard day builds me. I'm not alone. I carry my home in my heart." Chapter 7. A Voice Grows. Spring brought change. The snow melted, revealing streets littered with memories of winter. Forgotten gloves, broken umbrellas, salt-stained sidewalks. Diego began to walk taller, not because he was stronger, but because he was starting to belong. One evening, Janet approached him while he was mopping the floor. "The register girl quit. You want to try the counter?" Diego hesitated. Talk to customers? Take orders? "I try," he said. Frank clapped him on the shoulder. "You've got this. You've earned it." His first day at the counter was nerve-wracking. He misheard orders. He spilled the soda. One customer grew impatient and snapped, "You don't even speak English right." Diego swallowed the hurt. "I learn," he said simply. But later, a regular customer smiled at him and said, "You're doing great. I remember when I moved here from Poland. You remind me of me." By the end of the week, Diego was taking orders smoothly, greeting customers with a confident, "How can I help you today?" In ESL class, Ms. Adams had them do a group presentation. Diego spoke about his first job in front of the class. His voice shook at first, but then he looked up and saw friendly faces. "I was scared to speak. Now I try, every day. I make mistakes, but I do not stop." When he finished, the class clapped, louder than before. He sat down, heart racing, but proud. His voice had grown. Chapter 8. A Letter from Home. One Saturday, a letter arrived from Mexico. It was from Camila, written in careful looping handwriting. It included a drawing of their family, Diego, Mama, Papa, and herself, with a bright sun and flowers. "Dear Diego," it read, "I miss you every day. Mama says you work hard. Papa says he is proud. I tell my friends my brother is in America. Please come home one day. Bring snow." Diego's eyes welled up. He had been so focused on surviving, on learning, on earning. The letter reminded him of why he came, to build something better for them all. He folded the letter gently, placed it in his notebook, and that night, instead of studying vocabulary, he wrote a long letter back. He included a picture of him in front of the diner, smiling. "I work, I learn, I grow. I carry you with me, always." Chapter 9. Trouble on the Tracks. One rainy evening, Diego left work late. The subway station was nearly empty. As he waited, a man approached him, asking for directions. Diego tried to help, but his accent made things unclear. Another man nearby laughed. "Speak English! This is America!" Diego turned away, heart pounding. The man didn't stop. "Go back to where you came from!" Diego stared at the tracks, trying to breathe. He wanted to shout, to run, to disappear. But he remembered Mr. Thompson's words. "Your kindness is your power." A woman stepped forward. "Hey," she told the man, "he's doing more than you ever did. He's learning, working, trying. Leave him alone." The train came, and Diego stepped in, nodding to the woman. "Thank you," he whispered. That night he wrote in his notebook, "Some see a foreigner, others see a fighter. I choose to be strong." Chapter 10. Camila's Birthday. In June, Camila turned 10. Diego couldn't be there, but he saved tips from the diner and bought a small silver necklace with a butterfly charm. He mailed it with a card that read, "Fly, little sister, always fly." On her birthday, he FaceTimed with the family. Camila wore the necklace, grinning. "It's beautiful." Mama held the phone, showing Diego the kitchen. "We made your favorite, mole." He imagined the smells, the laughter. He closed his eyes for a second and said, "Next year, maybe I visit." After the call, he walked outside, stood under a tree in bloom, and whispered, "I'm doing this for you, for us." Chapter 11. The Interview. Ms. Adams told the class about a hotel hiring bilingual staff. Diego hesitated. Was he ready? "Apply," she urged. "You are ready." He ironed his shirt, printed a resume Luis helped him write, and practiced answers in the mirror. At the interview, the manager asked, "Tell me about yourself." "I came here with hope. I work hard. I learn fast. I want to grow." The manager nodded. "Your English is strong. We need people like you." 2 days later, Diego got the job, front desk assistant at a hotel. He told Frank, who smiled wide, "I'll miss you, kid, but I'm proud." Diego brought a cake to the diner on his last day. Even Janet smiled. "Don't forget us when you're famous." Chapter 12. A New Chapter. The hotel was bright, clean, and busy. Diego wore a name tag and greeted guests with ease. He translated for tourists, solved problems, and handled calls. One night, a Mexican family arrived. The father looked tired, the mother anxious. Their son clung to her leg. Diego greeted them in Spanish, guided them to their room, helped carry bags. The mother said, "Gracias, you remind me of my brother." Diego smiled. "I hope he's doing well." Later that night, Diego stood by the lobby window, watching the city lights shimmer. He thought of his family, his journey, the diner, the ESL classes, Mr. Thompson, and every hard day. He opened his notebook, the last page nearly full. He wrote, "New land, new life. Not easy, but mine, and I'm not done yet." He closed it, slipped it into his backpack, and turned to help a new guest, ready for the next story to begin. Thanks for watching. Take action today, not tomorrow. Press subscribe. And let's keep learning together. You're doing great. See you in the next one. Stay strong.